Now, very respectfully, we have the honor of welcoming our chief guest, Honorable Justice Ravi Shanker Jha sir, former Chief Justice of Punjab and Haryana High Court. Sir's dedication to justice and legal reform has inspired many, and we are grateful for his auspicious presence today. Most humbly, I would like to invite our sir to share his invaluable insights with us. Please, sir.
Having heard illustrious speakers and being the last to speak, I start with a prayer of Ano Bhadra Kratuvo Yantu Vishwata. Let noble thoughts come to us from all sides. I think the entire spectrum in pieces has already been placed before you. So, of this topic. So, I think my task is simplified to a great extent. I'll just assimilate it for you, formulate it so that one thing should be very clear in our minds. We are all talking about adopting AI in the legal field and its use and other things. Practically speaking, we must be very clear in our mind that we have no choice. We are already into it. It's not a question of adopting AI. It's a question of getting used to it, adjusting to it, and using it in the proper way. Because you are the generation which is practically brought up on AI. Your 90% of your knowledge is AI based. You hardly open any books. My own sons, when I ask them about something, they'll immediately pick up the mobile or they'll open the laptop or the computer and come up with some information. And I'll tell them, there's a book lying here, why don't you pick it up and read it? This is very easy. So you see, we are now living in a world where AI is into us, whether we like it or not. So the question of adopting it doesn't arise. ये तो बलात हमारे ऊपर चढ़ा दी गई है. हमको इसको हम avoid कर नहीं सकते. We are living with it. Now the question is, how useful is this for us? And what is its use for us, lawyers or judges in the legal field? You see, AI is very helpful. He is telling you about its uses, and I fully agree. Because I won't take you into the details, but I'll tell you in the legal field today, income tax returns are filed online, assessments are made online, GST returns are filed online, assessments are made online. You apply for licenses, permits, this, that, which are all requirements under statutory provisions, even for motor vehicle, this, that, everything is done online. And that saves a lot of time, saves a lot of money, saves a lot of processing time. So it's absolutely essential. Admissions are, you want to apply for a admission in a college, online. You want to appear in an examination, you have all must have appeared in this CLAT and other things, online. Appearing in the examination, identification check, all that done by AI. So you see, AI is assisted working is now a part of the system. Education, defense. I mean, today probably the army would not be able to survive if it would not take the assistance of AI. You had just given the example of what happened in Lebanon, pages. Weapons are now no longer the days when you could fight with a sword or a gun are gone. You are sitting here today, we are talking here, we are enemies of somebody, and next second the whole building is vaporized. That's what happened. So it's Star Wars. And Star Wars means AI. So it's defense, it's education. Healthcare has been using AI for decades. All your pathological reports are AI generated. He just told you Your ECG is read by AI. Your reports are now analyzed and the results are given by AI. So, you would look at any field, whether it's education, whether it's defense, whether it is healthcare, whether it is motor vehicle, whether it is taxation, administration, entire administration, now your land records are all computerized. Who owns so and so Khasra number, so and so piece of land, you punch in, there's a software and you come to know this person owns this particular piece of land. Everything AI is now an absolute integral part of the system. So the issue that we are discussing whether we should adopt it or not doesn't arise, it's already within us. We are living in ether if we still think that we have the choice of either adopting it or not. We have no choice at all, it's already with us. And so you see, AI is now a very, very important part of the system, very helpful. Broadly speaking, in the legal field, you can divide the use of AI into three broad categories. One is data collection, information collection, in the sense that you use SCC, case mine, this, that, or you want information about laws, so you punch in, so you're collecting information about this. This is one use, compartmentalized use of AI. The other use which is now developed is reading, analyzing, preparing drafts and documents, contracts, your notices. So many things are now prepared by these softwares. The third is the one which the young lady raised a question about, generative AI, where you're dealing with AI which also has a bit of the ability to analyze and give you some conclusions. That's the third level of. Now, all of you, I presume, must have used these search engines and softwares and finding out case laws and other things. I'll tell you, when the first one was introduced, it was SCC online. Not online, I'm sorry, it was SCC at that time. It used to come in CDs with a key and you had to plug in the key, and then if they would identify you by the key, and only then the software would start working. So I was one of the first who purchased it. I became a judge in 2005, and I was in fact notorious because I would sit on the dais with a SCC online open. The reason was I just wanted to verify if a judgment is cited, whether it's been referred to subsequently or whether it's been overruled or it still exists. So you see the verification. But you give in a search and you will get a whole list of cases. And then you have to sit down with that whole dump and then segregate the useless ones from the useful ones, and out of all the 10, 15 that you get, maybe one would be useful, or then otherwise you would have to change the search, specify it still more, come up with another bunch. So, thinking that you just punch in something and you get the answer, it doesn't happen with AI. You just get a whole lot of material. It's like you want to purchase something on Amazon and you say, I want ABC book. And immediately the window will pop up and you open Amazon and it won't give you this book. It will give you a list of 1,000 books. Now you have to scroll through each one and find out what you want. So AI there again is a tool that you use for information out of which you have to work hard again. When this was not there, we as lawyers, we would take out the digest, we would take out the book, we would read the commentaries, and perhaps at times come up with a solution much faster than what SCC would give you, or any or the software. Because it would dump so much on you that it would take much more time going through everything and solution than searches have now been refined. And but then again, I was talking to a judge and he said, I wrote a judgment and I put it on the spell check and thing. And he was imposing fine on somebody. And the AI read fine as good. So it suggested use the word okay instead of fine. Now the meaning totally changed. You see, this is where AI puts you in trouble. So this is one aspect. The other aspect is this contract drafting, analyzing. Again here, I'll tell you my own case. I was leasing out a part of my ancestral property, and the lessee is a very big corporate company, having a whole set of legal team, big legal team with young people like you on it. And what is a lease? If you actually look at it and you studied the law, you'll know it just needs 10 clauses. So I said, okay, you draft it out. And the legal team of the company came up with a 40-page lease. I said, what is this? So it was a computer AI generated. All 99% of clauses were not required. But then because they were charging the company, they had to show a 40-page document. All useless stuff that was not required to be put in there was there. And we had to spend hours reading the whole thing. Certain clauses were irrelevant, not leading with leases. I'm just telling you that this is how you use AI, which in fact creates more problem. You see, if you don't leave elbow room for human interaction and resolution, and you put in hundreds of clauses dealing with everything, tomorrow when a problem comes up with you, between you and the other side, you will strictly go by the document. And if something is not there in the document, it's not there. Something is there in the document, then you have to go strictly by it. You get tied down. A legal expert will tell you, make it short, make it sweet, make it clear, make it binding, make it workable. Make it workable. So again, this is the use of AI that you people make. But like I said, the human aspect of looking at it, analyzing it, preparing it is much more important, much more effective than use of this AI. It helps you. It will give you the outline. It will give you the outline, it will give you the skeleton, and then you should do the filling up of it. So use it again as a tool. The third one was the young lady's question. Third aspect of AI. And I'll tell you, although it's in the mind of everybody, I can see it. She said, Punjab and Haryana. I was the Chief Justice when the judgment on chat GPT was used by the judge in Punjab and Haryana High Court it was an order on an application for bail. And he used chat GPT. And this is Jasmeet was the state of Punjab. And I was talking to him, I said, you've used chat, what do you think about it? He said, never use it. I said, but you've given a judgment on chat. Well, no, I used chat GPT, but I did not follow it. You see, you must read that order. The misinformation that is spread is that he used chat GPT to pass a judgment. Wrong. He used chat GPT to find out what GPT was saying about it. It was a case where he said if a crime has been committed and there is an element of cruelty in committing the crime. Should I give bail or not? Whether I should give bail or whether I shouldn't give bail. Now, he said, ChatGPT said, it depends on the gravity of the cruelty, but cruelty or no, you give bail. And the judge said, I didn't follow it. I rejected the bail because the offense was committed in a very heinous manner. So please note this, because you see, everywhere, all over the place, Punjab, Haryana, you High Court use ChatGPT to, no, nothing. It's only a tool. It's only a information gathering instrument. You get information about something and then you use it, or whether to use it or not to use it is again human discretion. Why are these softwares not relevant? He's here. ChatGPT and other things, they are prepared with the social, demographic, cultural background of America, Australia, Canada. Nothing to do with India. They are giving you an input based on what's happening there. Totally irrelevant. I'll tell you, there's a judgment, 68 MPLJ, Madhya Pradesh High Court. Found 6B of the old IPC. गाली गलौच, गंदी गाली दिया. ट्रायल कोर्ट ने गंदी उसने मदर सिस्टर ये वो रिलेटेड अब्यूजेस किया, कन्विक्ट कर दिया. हाई कोर्ट एक्विटेड इट. व्हाई? They said these people are coming from a social background where the use of these abuses are part of their regular use of language. And for an educated, convent educated or this educated person, it may be a very, very offensive abuse. But for them, it's language, it's part of daily parlance. So, acquitted. Now you put this in ChatGPT. What will you get? Social background from, and India is such a diverse country. In Punjab, this would never be an offense. But in some other part of the country, this would be a heinous offense. Now, if you apply the same yardstick or an American yardstick to this kind, judging this kind of an offense, what are you going to come up with? So, you see, there's a saying, these are all attempts at imitating human beings. AI, generative AI. Next thing you will come up with something else. But creation is divine, imitation is human. We have been created by the divine with a lot of energy, with a lot of brain, with a lot of so much of intelligence in us. We are trying to create something that will replace us. Not possible for us. And one of the most important reasons is that, like he said, you could store everything into the hardware, into the database for assessment. But can you store in the human feelings, the emotions, the analysis of the brain? You just can't do it. And that is what makes the difference between us and AI. That you must, AI is not a one-stop solution for anything. Remember this. AI is just something that you have to use. Use it as one of the tools, not the only tool. One of the tools. Your people, your human beings who have so much power of cognizance, imagination, use so many things with faculty. Your faculty is infinite. You cannot be confined to AI. You cannot confine your faculties to AI. स्कूल में एक आप लोगों ने सबने पढ़ा होगा, आई डोंट नो याद है कि नहीं आपको, एक छोटी सी कहावत संस्कृत की, पुस्तकस्तु सा विद्या पर हस्तगतम धनम कार्य काले समुत्पन्ने न सा विद्या न तद धनम। इसका मतलब ये होता है कि पुस्तक में रखी हुई विद्या और दूसरे के पास रखा हुआ तुम्हारा धन, ये नहीं एग्जिस्ट करने के बराबर है, क्योंकि कार्यकाले समुत्पन्ने, जिस समय खड़े खड़े कहीं आपको इसकी जरूरत पड़ेगी, न वो किताब में रखी हुई विद्या आपके पास है, न वो धन आपके पास है। आपको ये सब विद्या और धन जो है ये अपने अंदर रखना पड़ता है। आप लोग सब, यू आर ऑल यंग पीपल, आई एम क्वाइट श्योर यू मस्ट हैव हर्ड ऑफ एंड रेड अबाउट भूलाभाई देसाई, द ग्रेट lawyer of this country. When he was a junior, he was sitting and he was writing notes, preparing a case. And marking up the facts, writing it down on paper. And a senior advocate passed by, he said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm making notes, preparing the case." Well, why, don't you have a brain? And just walked away. That one sentence changed his life. And then are stories and legends about Bhulabhai Desai, where the file used to be hundreds and thousands of pages, and the case would be called up, and Bhulabhai Desai would stand up and he would just narrate the facts, no file, nothing, narrate the facts verbatim, page by page, para by para, judgments, everything here. That's what made him great, the great Palki wala. There are stories about him where he just took out a slip, looked at it and started arguing the case. No file, nothing. Quoting judgments. No AI is needed. No AI was needed. And the arguments that were raised then, you don't get to see today. The reason is that you are confining yourself to the search and the material that AI supplies to you. You're not going beyond it. Like Ms. Lekhi said, and they said, you enslaving yourself to AI. You become slaves of AI. Your mind is degenerating. There's no application of mind. The capacity to remember, the capacity to see. I don't know whether you've been told this as children, but your strongest memory is your visual memory and your audio memory, not the trained memory that you put into your brain. 10 years hence, somebody asks you about this lecture, you will remember the visual images. You will recollect the visual image, and that will trigger your memory, and you will say, yes, I had heard so-and-so, I had seen so-and-so and so-and-so. You're not using it. You're not using it. You rely on artificial AI for all these things. So don't let these things enslave you. There is a tendency of these AI application software of molding you subtly. Your thinking, your behavior, your actions, you don't come to know about it. It's a very subtle change that comes about, and because this AI takes you down a particular lane, you want to go here, it will start here, and then slowly it will deviate and you will go somewhere else. You won't even realize where you've gone. And that is where this ethical and unethical part of AI comes in. I'll give you an example. A week back, one of my friend's son, he fell sick and he got himself tested. A blood test was done, and the report was that he was infected by some very serious kind of a infection. And the doctors panicked. They said immediately put him into the ICU and check his heart, because this infection could affect any organ. And if it does that, then it will be very difficult to recover. So 2 days in the ICU, lakhs of rupees spent, heart checked, organs checked, this checked, that checked, everything. 2 days they gave him vigorous treatment. They said, let's test him again. They tested him again. They found he had no infection. They found that their infection was not there at all. What were they treating? It was ultimately discovered that the sample that they had taken was contaminated. So what is actually fed into AI, what is the database, is much more important than what you get out of it. If it's not in the database, if it's not in the search that you give, or the search that you give is wrong, or the search is manipulated, then the result goes haywire. There's no logic in it. They did not even realize that he was not having a single symptom of that illness. But because the test result said so, they were treating him blindly. Don't let this blindness ever envelop you. Make sure that you have this ability of empirical analysis of everything, analyzing things with AI as one of your aids, one of the instruments. There's a case of the New York Federal Court where this ChatGPT has again played truant. A case was filed there and several judgments were quoted in it. The other side filed a reply saying that out of the judgments that there were 7 judgments we couldn't find. So then a search was made frantically. The judge said, you file an affidavit and give copies of this judgment. The person who had filed it gave copies of 6 judgments which were excerpts, not the complete. And they were not on the point at all. 7th judgment, non-existent. Not there at all. Ultimately, notices were issued to the lawyers who filed it. And he confessed that I had filed that case after getting a printout from ChatGPT. And it was ChatGPT that gave me those 7 judgments. I did not read them. I did not verify it. But now I think I'm wrong. I made a mistake. The judgment doesn't exist and the others are irrelevant. This is what happened in February 2024. So please realize that what you get is the same thing like I told you. If the sample is contaminated, the database was contaminated. The information given there was wrong. So the information that was generated, that was wrong. So you have to be very clear about these things, that AI is simply one of the tools that you have to use. It cannot replace your hard work. It can make your job a little easy. It can make your work a little easy. It can reduce a little bit of your burden. See, why do you want AI? Think about it. Why do you want to? The bitter and hard truth to swallow is that you are lazy. You don't want to work. You want something on the tips of your tongue. Press a button, get the answer. You are lazy. You want things without working for it. That's why taking advantage of your weakness, AI has taken over your entire thought process, your life. You want to buy a slipper? AI. You want to buy specs? AI. You want a book? AI. There are voice bots today where a client has to open it and say, I am facing this kind of a problem. What's the legal advice for me? And the bot will talk back and tell you, this is under this section, you have this right, this here, this. No doubt, like he said, and rightly said so, it does help those who don't have the resources, who don't have the money, who don't have the ability to engage lawyers or take. at the initial stage, just to show you the direction, right direction. But ultimately, nothing can be done without the human application of mind and effort. That's very important. You must know this. Don't let, like I told you, become great. Pustakastu sahavidya, why should all the knowledge remain in the books? What is it there for? It's for you. A person has a huge library of all the information in the world in his house, and he has not read a single book. What's the use of that? That's your state today. You have everything available in the world, in the archives, in America, England, Canada, Australia, Ireland, everywhere it's there with you on your net. But if you have not read it, what's the use of it? And if you've not read it and not just read it, but also retained the important part of it, what's the use of that kind of knowledge? So please, let's be very clear about this, that AI in either of the three fields that law is at present using it in is limited only to be used as a simple tool for diagnostic tool. Some people feel that it's the only tool. No, please, it's not. There's an instance where an argument was going on in court, and the judge said, it's a division bench, and one of the judges said, Mr. So-and-so, there's a judgment on this point, this is so-and-so, so-and-so, I remember this is the judgment, this is the... And the lawyer said, yes sir, the judgment is definitely there. But in so-and-so commentary, there's an adverse comment against the judgment. The sitting other judge said, this is amazing. You remember a judgment and you have read about it also. I don't know anything about it. Let's stop the hearing. Let's call for both the books and find out whether this is actually true or not. And both were right. The memory of the judge was fantastic. The memory of the law and knowledge of the judge was, of the lawyer was still better. What you get on the grid, what you get from the data is what is fed in. There are hundreds of judgments that are not even fed into the database. We as judges, we knew we are giving a judgment on a point, on an issue. It's a judgment, we give it, it's not reported. It's neither reported in the journals nor does anybody. In our days, of course, there was a Welcome, Justice Bhatt. How are you? I think I've exceeded my thing and just concluding. And I've forgotten, looking at you, I've forgotten where I was. But I was telling you that in several instances you give judgments, judges give judgments, single bench judgments, division bench judgments, they are not reported. In our times, there was a system, at least in the Madhya Pradesh High Court, where every judgment that was delivered by every court was actually, a copy was sent to the Bar Association, where the lawyers could read it and analyze it. 90% judgments were not even reported. Now, if you've not read the judgment, you don't know about it. Same thing happens with these softwares. Not everything is uploaded. There could be judgments that are not uploaded, never come out in search. And therefore, you are handicapped if you're totally relying on the software. So therefore, please see that this is only used as a tool, one of the tools by the lawyers, and that AI is not, like I told you, the judge who in Punjab Haryana High Court who actually used Chat GPT told me when I asked him, I will never rely on it, and I have not relied on it. So now, you see this ethical other part with Niti Aayog is dealing with it. Madam Lekhi told you about it. He also talked about it. It's a very big issue about controlling AI, statutorily controlling AI. And one of the first laws in the world has been, in August 24, the European Union has formulated the European Union Artificial Intelligence Act. There they have categorized the kind of AI into 4 categories. One is totally prohibited, no AI in that. The other, very limited use of AI, and that too after tremendous scrutiny. The third category in which Chat GPT and others fall, that also has to be thoroughly scrutinized. No intellectual property protection there. You have to disclose each and everything over there for the purposes of obtaining it. And the fourth is these games, video games and others where there is no control. So this is a must for this country also. It's absolutely necessary that we come up with legislation controlling AI. So I think I've overshot my thing. There's many more things to say, but you have another session coming up. So thank you so much. And just remember, don't become slaves of AI. Your mind should be the boss. Thank you.